Tusum Sanje Tham Jeje Owo Ridan Jinguru Jansu Chabda Katin Sumba Mebe Deje Panden Lama Tambe Shabje Dulu Tima Meba Gowe Rabdo Dude Gosum Goba Chembe Cha Sashin Japso Chiwo Jewa Ne Tsara Tamje Don Rawar Meba Jeso Zondo So Panden Dorje Chama Rigun Chabda Lama Karma Ba Jinguru Gunjin June Sishe Bajuru Idam Nanjurma Chenle Gunje Jebo Wanjur Chushon Presin Jambrella Nanjur Ziji Guben de Don Rame Duji Jong Han Chodu Jagon O Beman Jong Dongha Sonju Demba Bewe Chinzi Wese Jawe Nyugo So Tisho Dembe Jansen So Han De Yunde Sanje Gunan Nyamna Yang Katin Sanje Lejang Hawaii Zawe Lame Shabla Chase Ne Dasun Rowe Lamna Chue La Chong Good morning.
Dzień dobry.
I would like to remind you the bodhicitta, in order to benefit limitless sentient beings, we must cultivate the compassion, loving kindness, and the bodhicitta. Based on these qualities, then we adopt the wisdom of listening, the wisdom of contemplation, and the wisdom of meditation. Here we continue the topic of two processes, and yesterday and the day before yesterday we talked about the process of generation or creation, and which we haven't finished yet, so we are continuing. In order to sustain visualization of a deity and a visualization of a mandala, what we need to understand or to adopt three aspects of the creation stage. These three aspects are, in Tibetan, one is we call number sawa. Number two, we call hai namda temba or hai takpa temba. Hai takpa temba. Number three is a hai ngajal. So these three aspects is very important to maintain your practice of a visualization, gross level, and eventually your visualization turn into a very subtle level of the meditation. So these three are the most key issues to increase or to strengthen the power of the visualization. Now, first is the number sawa, which means the clarity. Clarity in the visualization. You have to associate your visualization with the clarity, the state of clarity. Number two, hai takpa temba, is recollecting the purity of a deity. And the explanation will be now, I will explain later. And then number three is the hai ngajal, which means the pride of deity. Now, the number sawa is the clarity. So, which means the clarity is a kind of the art of visualizing with the steady and a vivid precision. That means when you visualize, I give you example. When you visualize Tara, so first you visualize Tara gross level, in the sense of like, oh, Tara is simultaneously arise from the emptiness, from the space. So there's not much a particular sense of visualizing very subtle art of the Tara. But then, in order to mingle your body into the body of a Tara, you need to complete the visualization of the very subtle level of the art of the visualization of a Tara. So therefore your visualization should be in the sense of a very vivid and a very steady and a very clear and a very precise. So that is the aspect of the clarity in the visualization. It is very important because some of practitioners, when they visualize the deities or guru, the mandala, syllables, they visualize at a state of the gross kind of form. So you have not much idea how does really look like mandala is, the peaceful mandala, the wrathful mandala, as well as the deities in the form of like peace and the wrath. And when you talk about wrathful Mahakala, or as well as like Vajrayana, so in order to complete the next, our topic is the process of accomplishment or the completion stage. Then this means you have a totally or fully completed every single of the deity's aspects. So without this, you cannot complete the process of accomplishment. So therefore, when you visualize the deities or mandalas, deities are held in your mind, mandala you held in our mind, yet free from inherent existence, free from the solid reality. So it is something like the rainbow or the reflection of a moon in the water appears, yet the absence of the inherent existence, absence of the truly existence or solidly existence, yet it appears. So that is the very special characteristic, how you improve the practice of Jirim. When you perform the rituals, the druptap, as we said yesterday in the Sanskrit, it's called sadhana, which means in English simply like a means of accomplishment. So it explains or it indicates and it tells us every single of the deity's aspect, the arms, legs, and as well as the dress, and gross and subtle level of everything of the deity. So you have to visualize while you are performing these rituals. But then when you visualize the deity as a solid, there's no blessing. In the teaching of Jirim, clearly mentioned. And when you visualize the Tara or Avalokiteshvara in the space as solid as we are, with the flesh and the bone and etc., so there's no benefit. At the same time, you cannot make connection. You cannot make connection with the deity. So therefore, it's always advisable. The visualization is always like empty of a solid reality and like a vivid rainbow. So in the teaching of Jirim, they always give example like a vivid rainbow and a reflection of a moon in the water, where you can see and so it appears everywhere vividly, clearly, yet it's empty of solid reality and empty of inherent existence. So that's why the practice of visualization can increase further and further by daily ritual practices. 15th Karmapa Kachap Doji. He did compose the rituals of Mahakala. It's called Nguntin Jeba. So in the Nguntin Jeba, you can find when he admired to Mahakala and Mahakali, and he stated saying that those who think or imagine Mahakala and Mahakali exist solidly, then this individual will never be able to see Mahakala and Mahakali in the reality. And if someone who practices Mahakala and Mahakali with the knowledge or understanding of that Mahakala, Mahakali arise from the emptiness, Mahakala, Mahakali come from nowhere, and they reside nowhere, and they go nowhere. If these three qualities of Mahakala, Mahakali, then individual can be achieved the practice of Mahakali and Mahakala swiftly. So this indication is very clear to us how to visualize the correct way and the proper way. And at the same time, we know when Kachap Doji explains about this, which means Mahakala, Mahakali, not only Mahakala, Mahakali, the deities and every Dhamma protector, so when we do practice of them, so should conduct with the proper understanding or proper knowledge of, so those deities or protectors are not truly existed. And as he said here, that they are always empty of the solid reality. It is just like space, it's just like a reflection of a moon, it's just like a vivid rainbow. So then your visualization will be perfect and correct. This will lead to the process of accomplishment very swiftly. In order to adopt or in order to cultivate this clarity of visualization, a relaxed mind is a necessary condition for sustaining or maintaining proper visualization. It's very important. When you are mood off, when you are angry, or when you are in the state of anger, your mind is disturbed. So there your mind is disturbed by anger or emotion. There's no stability. Lack of stability or the mental stability, then there is no vivid, there is no clarity in your visualization. So Jamgon Kongtrul Lodotai, in his teaching of these two processes or two Jirimanda Zorim, he said, with this perspective, practice of clarity, individuals should remain in the relaxed mind. More you relaxed or more you calm your mind, then the vivid of the deity or clarity of the vivid that will be increased. So that's why I think what he meant, Jamgon Kongtrul Lodotai, don't do this practice when you are unhappy or mentally disturbed, because then there is a lack of ability in this state, ability to promote, ability to strengthen the power of a clarity of a mind or the visualization. So therefore, relaxed mind is necessary condition to maintain your visualization proper way. Every practice has purpose and a reason, right? So without a purpose and a reason, we are not doing practice anyway, because what we need is we need a tremendous benefit from the practice. Now, talking about this clarity, let's say if you are able to focus your mind on the eye of Tara, eyes of Tara, or nose of Tara, or arms of Tara, and what benefit you can gain from this exercise. The more you focus your mind on the each and every aspect of Tara, then eventually mind is always in the state of clarity, but because of the disturbances and the defilements, we are unable to discover or make it clear. Now, because of this, the focus or concentration on each and every aspect of a deity, then eventually you are able to the strength or uncover or discover the clarity or brilliance or the luminosity of your mind. So that's how this is a technique, how your mind can make clear and brilliant and luminous. That's the only reason and the purpose we must bring our focus onto each and every aspect of a deity very precisely and very openly and very carefully. We move to the next. Second is Hai Takpa Tempa. Kaju in the Nyingma, they call Hai Namda Tempa. But the Giluk side, they call Hai Takpa Tempa. When we call Namda and the Takpa in Tibetan word, they are a bit different. Takpa Tempa means the recollecting the purity, but when you use Hai Namda Takpa Tempa, Namdak Tempa, is the recollecting the ultimate purity. Now, what does it mean, recollecting the purity? This means knowing and remembering. Knowing or remembering the symbolic meaning of each and every of the aspect of the visualized deity. This is very important in the practice of visualization. If you are absent of this practice or this knowledge, then there is no achievement at all from the practice of visualization. Since we all know deities, Dhamma protectors are not truly existed, then what's the benefit if we visualize the deity and the Dhamma protectors? So that's the purpose and that's the reason of this recollecting the purity, like the Dojichang, Vajradhara, blue color have chosen for the indication of space. Space means emptiness, and the space means the free from the substances, the solid substances. So the blue color. Two arms, two truths. The truth of the relative truth and the absolute truth. And holding Vajra, the symbol of methods. And then the bell indicates wisdom. Like this, I'm just giving you example, a simple example. So all the deities, all the Dhamma protectors, their color, their shape, their characteristic, and their every symbolic meaning, every symbol of their outlook, the symbol of their gesture, the symbol of their position, indicates the realistic meaning. So eventually what we realize, through the visualization, we can achieve the realization of emptiness, the realization of shunyata. There is no direct connection can be made between beginner and the highly realization. So therefore, as a process, idea of skillful means giving you to adopt, to digest, and make you closer to the final or absolute realization. So that's the means of the visualization. The term we use in Tibetan, La is deity or divine. Lack of knowledge of a proper visualization or the proper meaning of deity, to us, we easily misconceived or misbelieve that La is something like in the form of the peaceful divine or wrathful divine, which is solidly somewhere there. We supplicate to the deity, we pray to the deity, we seek their blessings, their protection. There's something like we have a solid kind of expectation, inherent the expectation towards a deity. So that's the wrong idea in the practice of a visualization at all. Now, what does La mean actually? The La is something, is a very pure. A sense of purity is the La. As long as our mind is disturbed by anything, any factors, external factors or internal factors, as long as our mind is in the state of the restlessness or impurity, then there is no La. Regardless how much you put your effort in the visualization or in the imagination, in the making connection with the deity, there is no benefit. So you have to understand the overall understanding or the basic framework of what does La mean. La is completely purity, completely free from the substances. That's why when you go into the deeper level of Jirim or the creation stage, then it's called in Tibetan Nangcha Harushar. Nangcha means the aspect of external appearances turn into the divine. So this means object of seeing, object of hearing, object of smell, all these objects there, but they don't disturb your mind. You can enjoy with them without attachment, without grasping them, yet you can enjoy them. So that is the final statement of the real characteristic of the Jirim or La. When we talk Nangcha Harusha, Nangcha, Cha is aspect, Nang means appearances. The aspect of appearances arise as a divine or as a deity. Does not mean outside there is a tree appears as a deity. No. How could tree can be like a Tara? This is really illusion, stupid illusion. And the water cannot arise as a form of Tara. And a house cannot arise as a Mahakala. But which means as long as those external factors do not disturb your mind, you enjoy with them to be seen, to be heard, to be smelled, yet there's no defilement. that those objects do not defile your mind, the mind of clarity. You have a joy, you have a bliss, and you have a feeling of a freedom. So that state or that characteristic is real divine, real La, and the real deity. So you see, what I'm trying to tell you now is you have to have a complete knowledge of this Jirim practice. That's why I'm a little bit in the precise explanation. It's not from my explanation. It's explanation of from Jamgon Kongdrul, Odotai, and Mipam Rinpoche, as well as the many great masters, and also His Holiness the Digo Khyentse Rinpoche, previous His Holiness the Digo Khyentse Rinpoche. So therefore, one must not make a single mistake in practice, because otherwise you practice of Jirim years and the years and the years, then there is no benefit. And then worse comes to worse, you will blame on the Jirim practice. Say that, they are lying, they are not true, they say this and that, I did this and that, but there's no achievement, there's no benefit. So the worst comes worse, which is not so good. So therefore, make everything in a meaningful way and a practical way. So one should be very knowledgeable with the practice of Jirim, and then you can get rid of all these unnecessary mistakes in your practice, and a healthy practice lead to the healthy fruition, right? So therefore, the detail and the precise instructions of Jirim we need to apply. So then, in short period of time, you can make a tremendous benefit and achievement from the practice. And I know many of us expect to communicate with your deity. And you do practice Tara, you do practice like a Manjushri, and what is your expectation is quite obvious. After some months or years, you would like to see them in reality. And you expect they come to you, say that, hello, I'm here, what do you want? What can I do for you? Oh, that's not so easy. Doesn't mean they are not so kind. They are too kind. That's why it's not so easy to catch them. Because they are so valuable. Why? We need to train our mind to catch them. Doesn't mean that they are so easy to come to you. Kindness doesn't mean that you can ask them and that they come to you whenever you want and whenever you like. So it doesn't mean this is kind. The kind in the kind means, the great kindness means like a Marpa and the Milarepa and a Gampopa and the Milarepa. You see how much they put effort into their own diligence, into the practice. So that's why you need to complete your kind of facility to catch them or to be seen them, right? So therefore, in the past, those many great masters, they communicate with the Manjushri, they communicate with the Tara, they communicate with the medicine Buddha. Yes, they do, and they did. In fact, they did, really. It's not like just someone made a story. It is a real story, and they could, and we can also. Didn't mean they could, but we cannot. We can. If we do practice properly, if we do practice associate along with those instructions, then yes, we can communicate, and we can see them, and we can see them in day, we can see them in the reality, or we can see them in dream also. And there you can get instructions, the profound teachings. So these are all come from the proper training of the creation stage. Those Indian great masters, they play with the deities. I give you a story, beautiful story. Chandra Komi is also Indian, the great master.
And Chandrakirti also great, the Mahasiddha. Two of them debate, everyday debate. And Chandrakirti, Dawatakpa, always win, and the Chandrakomi lost. But Chandrakomi secretly walk away, and the next morning when he came back with a solid answer to the question of Chandrakirti, then after some days, Chandrakirti suspect, why this guy always go back secretly and lost somewhere, but next morning when he comes back with a perfect answer to my question, he must have someone who could tell him or teach him in a secret way. Tonight, make sure that I would like to follow him secretly and silently. So he followed Chandrakomi and hid somewhere outside of a temple, where Chandrakomi went in the temple, inside the temple, where he can communicate directly with the Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara was teaching him, you must give answer this way, you must give answer that way. So Chandrakirti outside very upset. Then he suddenly jumped into the temple, and then he told Avalokiteshvara, how come your compassion is so partial? You teach him, but not me. Then the Avalokiteshvara couldn't move, because there was a secret communication. So all of a sudden Chandrakirti appears in the temple. So Avalokiteshvara gone back to his own state, because his own state is a statue, actually a statue. So he was teaching, but all of a sudden he became moveless. Then there's no communication, of course. Then very upset Chandrakirti, but he went back. But in the dream, Avalokiteshvara appears, say that, don't worry, I'm not partial. My compassion has no partiality. Yeah, but you have your own master who is a Manjushri. Please go to him, talk to him. Yeah, and you are always a winner. He is always a loser, so I help him. Yeah. So you have no problem. You have a Manjushri. Manjushri is also he has no partiality, so you can go back to him. He will help you. So that sort of things you see. It's not movie, right? It's not something like a creation. It's a reality, because it indicates they are great Mahasiddha who achieved the practice of a visualization of Avalokiteshvara Manjushri completely. And you can be the same thing. You can talk to the Buddha here. Who knows, maybe one day this Buddha will talk to you this way, right? Yeah, possibility is there, but we need to really go into the deeper level of the practice of visualization. Okay. Now we move to the third aspect, which is the Hayang Ngajal, the pride of deity, right? Now, talking about Ngajal, the two different aspects of Ngajal, or the pride, negative side and the positive side. In Tibetan we call this Madakpe Ngajal, Takpe Ngajal, impure pride and the pure pride. Now, what does the pride of the deity means? Maintaining the deep sense of the deity, which is never separate from the purity, clarity, and as well as the complete deity. So that is like our innately or originally, our body, our speech, our mind is never separate from the the purity. Our body has never diluted, speech never diluted, and the mind never diluted. And who diluted? And we ourselves, because of a lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, and the lack of the practice. So that's why we ourselves make it diluted. Every state of our existing is very pure. But because, why impure then? There is no impurity at all, but we are lack of all this, the thorough training of the Shine and the Laktong practice. Here it says Jamgon Kongtru, lack of Shine and the lack of a Laktong practice, one always fail to achieve this Lying Ajal. So I have to be in the state of a pride of a being deity as a pure, as a perfect, as a complete. So I have to be very proud of being deity. Doesn't mean that, oh, I'm real Tara, in the sense of like a form of Tara, the solid existence or inherent existence. But it's beyond that. It is something that you are much deeper level of Tara or deity, so that you are proud, being proud of the reality or the ultimate Tara. So that means I have to be proud that myself innately never diluted by any means or any circumstances. I'm always pure, I'm always perfect, I'm always innocent, I'm always clear, I'm always untouched by any illusions or the negativities. So being deity, you keep pride of, in the sense of purity of yours and perfection of yours and the completions of yours. So that means I am pure and I'm perfect and I'm the Buddha, I'm the Tara, in the sense of my ultimate existence is never diluted, never touched by illusion or temporary contaminations. So don't make mistake with the sense of the pride of a deity. Sometimes we may make mistake thinking that, like when we talk about a Lying Ajal, then immediately you think it is something like a feeling of the dressing up in the costume of the wrathful and the peaceful, and as well as the dressing up with the mask, and then sometimes you act as when you visualize Mahakala, then you really or solidly believe that you are Mahakala. Then you do the gestures like exactly what Mahakala does, and then you show your face like a really wrathful face. So this kind of things is unnecessary kind of unnecessary practice. Doesn't make sense. So Lying Ajal, pride of a deity, is a very profound meaning, in the sense of that you are very much in the deep level of a deity, which is, I always say, clarity, brilliance, and the luminous, and as well as the free from any the solid substances. You feel comfortable in that sense, and the physical joy and the blissful arises from there, the blissfulness, and as well as the great joyfulness and the great blissfulness arise from the heart and from the mind. So that time we call the great yogi. So great yogi remains in the state of the pride of deity. Then his activities, walking, talking, eating, everything transform into the yogi's practice. To these yogis, there is no ordinary activity. Every activities are really benefiting all sentient beings. That's why we call yogi. from the practice of the pride of deity. And what benefit you can gain from this, then you feel or you understand or your sense, or the sense of being proud of deity, one can be free from all kinds of limitations of a mundane sense of a self. There's a lot of confusions in the mundane sense of a self, right? And free from the mundane sense of a self, the limitations, and free from believing that myself is being very ordinary. So you have to give up. You are free from the sense of the ordinariness. In Vajrayogini practice, Guru Yoga practice, in order to practice the Guru Yoga, it says you transform your body, speech, mind into the body, speech, mind of the Vajrayogini. Then from there you can start the Guru Yoga practice. If you regard yourself as a very ordinary being, individual, your body, speech, mind as a very diluted, who you are, that you always regard myself as being very negative and a very bad and a very diluted person. So at this stage, there's no way to practice a Guru Yoga, right? That's why they convince you, say, oh, you are Guru Vajrayogini, you are Vajravarahi, you are Jakar Sambara. Then you start this practice, allowed to practice. So what does this mean? What indication this? What is this indication? And you will realize that, this sense, I am very limited individual. I'm very limited. So with this practice, I have to be free from the limitation. I have to be from the sense of confusion. I have to be free from the sense of a mundane self. And I have to be away or keep distance from the being ordinary individual. So with that, then you can practice this profound practice of Guru Yoga, right? So this is the sense of the pride of the great deity. Vajrayogini is the form of shunyata, emptiness. Tara as well, form of shunyata and emptiness, absence of all temporary defilements. But then myself, if I believe myself as a very ordinary, who has a full of negativities and defilements and the shortcomings, then this is the great disturbance to start my practice, to carry my practice on the path, and to complete my practice. So this is a great obstacle and a disturbance to my practice. Because of this, I need pride of a deity. Deity in the sense is a boundless form of boundless compassion and a boundless wisdom. And I have this. This quality has existed with me from the beginnings of the time. But the problem is unable to see, because my mind is temporarily diluted, and I lack of working with it, and the lack of the cultivating compassion, loving kindness, and the wisdom senses. So therefore, I'm being always as an ordinary person who is always weakened in the state of weak of everything, weak of compassion, weak of diligence, weak of hard work with the practice, weak of understanding. Everything is weakened. So now, as a pride of a deity, I knew that my basic existence never diluted. I'm always pure. Buddha says, I'm always pure. And I myself also, I knew myself very pure. My shortcomings and problems are very temporary. If I work harder, if I become very diligent practitioner, if I continue my practice, there is chance, there is opportunity to overcome all my problems and all my shortcomings. So there I can get through and I can be enlightened in this single life. Possibility is there. you can be enlightened in this single life. So that sort of like energy, or convince yourself, or adopt the confidence, sense of confidence or determination with the practice is needed. So that is the whole idea of what does the pride of deity mean. Now, conclusion of the creation stage. As we are practitioner, Vajrayana practitioner, of course, the Jirim, this creation stage, must carry on. Not only the time of your session. Let's say we do session in the morning, I'm doing Tara practice. In the afternoon you do practice of like maybe Mahakala or Generasi. So session is, of course, is a part of a discipline. It's needed, but most important point here, what I would like to convince you, when you walk around, when you are in the state of the post-meditation, talking, eating, walking around, any activity you perform, you have to carry on the creation stage. As I explained earlier, that your body, speech, mind never diluted. Yourself is being always pure and perfect. And it's not just making up. It is a true. It is a true that you have never diluted. You are always free from. You are always in the state of the absence of the defilements and the shortcomings. So this shows that you are very pure. You are very pure. So now you have to develop and you have to increase this understanding through the way or through the effort visualization. You have to be very diligent, visualize mandala, visualize the deities. This is what we call the Jirim or Jueme Jirim, Juema, the fabricated, this very fabricated way of the visualization. From there, then you jump to the next unfabricated way of the Jirim, the creation stage, which is the effortlessly arising deities, mandalas, whenever you want. So there is no effort, but the deities arise in your mind effortlessly. The mandala arise effortlessly. And you can see everywhere deity, and you can see everywhere the mandala. So there's no chance to you to be as ordinary. And you are very comfortable with the sense of yourself being as a deity, very free, very joyful, and very happy. So that is the result of the creation stage. Until that, you have to be very diligent. Once you experience that everything is effortless, you are free, then you are at the stage of the process of accomplishment. Okay, that's all. And question and answer, we can do tomorrow. Not answer the question and answer. Actually, it's the same anyway. So we can do tomorrow.